All right, now let's try something else. We're going to add some other funky rhythms. So we're going to go to 4/4 time. Again, our most common time signature. We use this pretty often. I'm going to draw some bar lines. Here's our final bar line. Let's number our measures. So make sure we know what measure we're talking about. Measure 1, measure 2, and measure 3. Let's go over our notes. A quarter note gets 1 beat in this time signature. Here's a quarter rest. Half note, 2 beats. Half rest. Again, this is all based on this particular time signature. Whole note, 4 beats. Whole rest. Eighth note, half a beat. Eighth rest. 16th note, a quarter of the beat. We're going to add a dotted note. The dot, it's always to the right of the note head particularly. This increases the value of the note by half its value. Let's start first with a dotted half note. Now we only have 4 beats per measure, and we're going to draw our half note here, note head with the stem. Remember, it's not filled in. I'm going to draw the dot to the right of it. So we know that a half note gets 2 beats. Now, if a half note gets 2 beats, and we want to add half of its value to it, so 2 plus half of what 2 is would make 3 beats total. So in this case, for the counts, we'd write 1, parentheses, 2, 3. This only makes it 1 more beat, by the way, don't want you to get confused, only makes it 1 beat longer because half of 2 is 1. And that's beat 4. So this particular note, like a half note, instead of 2 beats though, lasts for 3 beats. We have another type of note. We have our quarter note with the stem and a dot next to it. This is what gets a little bit confusing for most people, so you need to pay close attention. A quarter note by itself without the dot gets 1 beat. If we add the dot, we got to increase the value of the note by half of its value. What's half of 1? Literally half a beat. So we'd have to put these two together. 1 dotted quarter note equals 1.5 beats. All right. Pay close attention. Remember that we always start with the count as the first part of the beat. That would be the first half. So here's beat 1 that we sustain the sound for when we're counting out loud. And in parentheses, I'm going to put beat 2. Well, Mr. Sutherland, then that kind of looks like a half note. Well, kind of. Remember, it's 1.5 beats, not 2 beats. So there's going to be an and of 2 somewhere else. And I'm going to show you that by drawing another note. And that note is going to be an 8th note. And this is and. So now we have and we can actually have another dotted quarter note here if you wanted to. Here is 3 with 4 in parentheses, and then another 8th note at the end here, and that is and. Dotted half note gets 3 beats. Just remember that in this particular time signature, right? As the bottom number is 4, this is all true. If the bottom number is 4, this is all true. If the dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats, that means it gets beat 1, beat 2, wherever it is, and then the next part of the beat that we're counting is the and. Just try right now counting measure 1. Let's look at just measure 1. 1, 2, set and count. 1, 4. Let's try it again together. 2, set and go. 1, 4. That's just measure 1. Let's take a look at measure 2. Measure 2 is a little bit different. You have a dotted quarter note, where a dotted half note gets 3 beats, a dotted quarter note gets 1.5. Pay close attention. Let's count together slowly. 2, set and go. 1 and 3 and. Let's try that again. 2, set and go. 1 and 3 and. See how that works? Let's try it one more time. 2, set and go. 1 and 3 and. So the and is the second part of those numbers in parentheses, those beats in parentheses. That's the second half. Well, could we put these two together? You cannot put a dotted half note and a dotted quarter note together. Why? Because a dotted half note gets 3 beats, and a dotted quarter note gets 1.5. That would be beat 4 in this case, and then a half. Only the first half of beat 5. So that would not add up, okay? Because we only have to have 4 total beats. We cannot have 5. That is not true in this time signature. So let's make this third measure a little funky, and let's zoom in a little bit. So what did Mr. Sutherland do here? So instead of making beat 1 a sounding pitch or sounding note, I made it a rest. Beat 1, because that's the first half of the beat. And we're going to come in on the and. Uh-oh. Let's think about this. We have beat 1 as an 8th rest, like it's half the beat, and we come in on the dotted quarter note on an and. We have the first half. Remember, a dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. That means that we have the first half of beat 1, then we have to have all of beat 2. So we can put beat 2 in parentheses. The following pair of 8th notes will be 3 and 4. Let's just try this together. We're going to count starting on beat 1 as it's silent. So the first sound you should make is the and wait till we get to beat 3. It's going to feel a lot shorter than you might think. 1, 2, set, and count. And 3, and 4, and. Let's try that again. 2, set, and count. And 3, and 4, and. One more time. 2, set, and count. And 3, and 4, and. Hope you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Remember that a dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. So you would have to count at some point or another whether if the dotted quarter note lands on the beat, like we have here on measure 2, beat 3, or if it's on the and of a beat. It's always going to be one part in parentheses. The other half will be and on either side for whatever note comes in next, or a rest for that matter, like we have here.